Reducible interest. We're going to look at repaying a loan of $4,000 with an interest rate of 15% and a monthly repayment of $350. So we're going to tap into spreadsheet and let's start by putting the loan amount in cell A1, $4,000. We'll type that in and tap execute. Now the next thing is we better set up a couple of constants. One is the interest rate, 15%, divide by 12, 1.25, divide by 100, 0.0125. So that's going into cell C1, and we'll put in our $350 repayment into cell C2, a couple of constants that we'll keep out of the side of things here. Right, we're ready to calculate the interest for the first month. So we tap into cell B1 equals the amount in cell A1 multiplied by our interest rate multiplier in C1. But we want to make sure when we copy this formula down in a minute that the 1 doesn't change here, so we'll make it an absolute reference by inserting a dollar in front of the 1. Tick OK. Next is to recalculate the amount owing after 1 month. So it's another formula equals the amount we borrowed initially plus, so we need to add in the value in B1, the interest for the month, and then subtract the value in C2, which is the repayment each month. But again, we want to make that an absolute reference by inserting a dollar in front of the 2 and tick the box. And so there's basically, that's the structure of our spreadsheet setup. We simply need to copy the interest formula down 1 and then take a copy of this row and keep on pasting it down and watching as we slowly, the amount owing is coming down by about $200, $300, $400, $300 a month until we get to this value. So you can see we basically paid back too much now. The first value's gone negative. Now let's tidy up these numbers. So we'll select them all and tap onto edit, format, number format, and because it's money, fixed to is ideal. That means 2 decimal places. We tap OK, and here we might need to adjust the column width slightly, or let's just make that column slightly wider to see what's going on there. So here's the balance at the start of each month, and here's the total interest for each month. Now, final payment. We paid back too much, so a quick way to recalculate what the final payment should have been is simply to add together the 2 numbers in A13 and A14 here. So maybe we could tap over to here and put equals those 2. Equals this number plus this number and tap execute. Or an alternative method is to tap into this cell and say, well, we've paid $206.33 too much, so we can say, well, it's equal to the $350 plus the amount in this cell. And either way, you can see we get identical final repayment amounts there. To get the total amount of interest, we want to add up the numbers in column B1 to B13 here. So we'll tap into B15. I'll put an equals, and we'll simply go off to calc, a list calculation and a sum, and we'll select by tapping onto the first one and dragging over the numbers, and you can see as I drag down the numbers these increase, then we tick the box. So here's our total amount of interest, $343.67, and here's the amount of our final payment. Now the great thing is, of course, something like this we can go and modify the initial parameters and watch what happens. So let's say the interest rate was slightly less, 0.01. So that would represent a 12% per annum rate. When we set that one in, and I'll move back over here, you can see the final payment was very slightly less than the ones, but it's still taken 14 months to repay it now. But what about if we'd paid back a little bit more as well? So instead of $350, we'd paid back $400. then when I select that value and slide back over again, you can see that we've actually paid off the loan after, looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 payments here, and this time we'd have to add together these two to get the final payment in that cell, and of course adjust the sum of these columns. So it's a bit on the fly, this kind of spreadsheet. If you wanted to save it for future use, we can tap onto File, Save, give it a suitable name, and tap Save. We won't do that.